Hey guys, welcome back. Write this down, episode number dos. Today we have a very special guest, Kerri
DiBiase.
From
A Peace-Filled Soul. You can visit her at apeacefilledsoul.com. Also follow her on Instagram, A Peace-Filled Soul. She is incredible. We cannot wait to share everything. I'm holding this up. You guys know what this is. It's a protection spray.
Yeah. We're going to use half of it tonight, okay? So also, guys, at the end of this podcast, make sure you write any questions that you want Kerri to answer. She has agreed to come back for some subsequent visits on some other episodes, so we're really excited. So make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit us up on our link tree down below in the description, and we'll give you more information on Kerri, and we hope you guys enjoy.
See ya.
So, Kerri, first of all, what would be the way to describe you? I guess we should ask.
Mystical. No.
I love that. Oh, no, I love that.
So, write that down.
It is. It's mystical. It's spiritual. It's energy. It's who we are.
Yeah.
I love that.
We think we are, these human beings, dense energy we are to be here, to walk the earth, but ultimately we are energy. We're like, over 90% water.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to acknowledge the fact that our emotions, our thoughts, everything is energy. So no matter what you put out there in the universe, someone's going to pick up on it.
Yeah.
And that's why, when you think of Lupe and he calls you, you're like, oh, I was just thinking of you.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that happens
a lot.
And that's what we say, you're on the same wavelength because vibrationally you are.
Yeah.
And that's why, I stopped saying that, we don't get along, like people don't get along. We're just not on the same vibrations. That's it.
I just say their energy doesn't match mine. That's what I say. Their energy does not match mine.
Exactly.
I love that.
We're not arguing. We're just on different vibrations right now, babe.
Justin. Oh my God. He's actually a huge energy and universe person, and it was one of the first conversations we ever had. My boyfriend is very big into that, and it's funny. I also, before we get into that, I think a lot of people don't, and one of the reasons that I really loved Kerri is because you didn't say you have to pick a belief, because you also grew up Catholic, you said, right? And there are a lot of people that I know that pick and choose both, not to get into the religion aspect, but it's interesting that you believe in that, but you still believe in energy. Because it's not,
I can give you, so I don't know how deep you want me to go into this, but it is my Catholic Italian heritage that ultimately brought me here.
Yeah.
Because my grandmother did her, she would click, 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 walked into church a little late. Everyone knew she walked into church, and on the other side of the coin, Sunday, she's reading the horoscopes, and everyone's like, Katie, that's against your religion. And she's
So
like,
that-
what are you? Are you a Pisces? Are you a Cancer? See,
Yeah.
she didn't care.
Yeah.
She just opened that book up, and she's like, nope. What are you, Pisces? Okay, we're gonna read Pisces today.
Do you think that's a big thing with Catholics rather?
Yeah.
Because a lot of Mexican Catholics too are, they're into Santeria too. They're into all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's something with the Roman Catholic Church that also has that kind of parallel.
I also think God straightened me down, but I also think it's a competition thing. Yeah. I think that I was raised Catholic too, and you're supposed to believe in God and that's it. And if you go right off faith, that's what they say. But it's, for me, and obviously for you, to be in Kerri's presence and to do Reiki with Kerri and to have her I'm like, you can't not believe it. Once you do it, you can't. It's crazy. No, it really is. It's a very real thing. So,
But really, it took me, and if you talk to Mario, it's like he would say, you want to do an interview? No, this is big for me to even be doing this, because it took me so many years to come out of the spiritual closet, because I had to clear so much generational trauma that came along with this. It was like, you don't do this. You're going to go to hell, and you're evil, and there's layers of this that I had to clear, before I could say, this is who I am.
Do you think it's more accepted? I mean, there are more people that I think talk about it nowadays, but do you think in society it's more accepted than it ever was?
Yeah, I'm going to say, like, your generation,
We're not the same generation, but no, I'm kidding.
I'm like maybe a few years older.
It's fine.
so my kids' generation and all the generations coming in, you guys are just like bringing a new energy into the world, and that
Hopefully
energy is a very good one. And I think it's more or less anchoring us in love and not fear, because you can only live in one or the other, love or the fear. And the fear is what, 2 and 3 generations back for me, like my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my parents, they lived in fear.
Always,
and it was, they're just products of their elements. And, my father going through, the Germans invading Italy, and you go through all of what happened back then.
Yeah.
So that's all imprinted on us. And we have to kind of, and I say, like, even to my son Jared and my other son Joseph, I take pages out of your book because you're fearless. You just say, just go buy it, Mom. Just go on vacation, Mom. Like, what are you holding back for?
Like, oh man, I can. Yeah.
Right. I think that's definitely a generational thing. Like, now I think that you get one life is more than ever, being lived.
Do you think that has to do with, I guess it can be a dual thing at the same time, where it's some sort of like generational spiritual awakening on top of that generation, those numbers going down, and the younger people stepping up to the plate, and it's kind of a dual thing? Like, what do you attribute that to?
I do agree that it is definitely a spiritual awakening, and that, like Lindsay, you said, we don't have to choose one thing, because ideally we come from one place. We're one source. It's one source, and I believe, like, all religions were just broken down according to interpretation.
Yes, of course, of course.
You know what? Like you said, we had to just follow this direct line, and this is what you believed. But like, even when I was in elementary school, it was like the Catholics against the Jewish. Like, ooh, like, why?
Yeah.
Like, I was always so
No, that's a great, why? Yeah.
Why?
So you were way ahead of your time, really.
It just made no sense to me. And I loved the Greek culture, and I loved the Jewish culture, but, wait a minute, we have to stay right here.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
And love is love, and we're going to go back to that. And that's what I think this is all about. It's even like with the pandemic, I think the energy of this whole pause was just like, hey guys, wake up.
A reset.
Oh, for sure. We talked about that a lot. We were like, oh my gosh, like the pandemic was just like, hey, listen.
Yeah, it's like my whole life 6 months from now is going to look so different than a year ago. It's
not too different, guys. He'll still be here.
Yeah, I'll still be here.
Let's not get it confused.
She's not gonna let you.
He can't run away from me.
Lindsay took me from she wanted to do 2 podcasts a week to we went to 2 a month.
That is not
No,
true.
just-
Okay, that is not true.
Well, let me tell you,
Anyways.
I could give you at least 1 podcast a month for at least a year.
Oh, okay.
With all this stuff.
Because you have so much to talk about. So
Reoccurring guest.
yeah, I love it. No, and I know that a lot of people are going to love this. So I saw we put on our social media platforms what people wanted to know, because we were excited to have you. But there are a lot of people that are asking, like, what is Reiki?
Okay, yeah. So Reiki.
Besides a really cool word to say.
So Reiki is a Japanese word for universal life force energy. And that's what it is. It's the universal life force energy that is out there. It's what penetrates the earth, that makes plants grow, and how do we survive? Think about the balance out in nature. If you find a poisonous plant within 5 feet of that plant is its cure. I mean, everything is so balanced out there. So that's how we're not supposed to say we're going to go out into nature. We are part of nature. We are nature.
Yeah.
Of course.
And that's the division that we have to, the separation that we have to leave behind.
Yeah.
We are all connected. What I do eventually affects you.
Yeah.
It's a ripple effect. And so that's what we have to get back into. I feel like we're reverting back to, if I go back to, my culture, and I'm sure you can connect to it. My grandparents worked the land, and they were in Italy, and they worked off of the land. They didn't go to CVS or Walmart if they had a headache. What did they do?
Yeah.
They were like,
Picked up a leaf and started chewing it.
Exactly. We're gonna chew some peppermint, or we're gonna boil some chamomile for my stomach. And okay, so now if I tell someone I'm doing that, I'm a witch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sad. Yeah, and that goes back to judgment and all that. But
Life.
yeah.
And I think even before kind of so-called kind of like organized religion, I think every part of the world was like that, right? What's more to home? Native Americans, they believed in Earth, Mother Nature, and all that stuff. So that's weird how we went there to where we are and then where we're going. Yeah.
I think we got beyond ourselves, and we need to just simplify life and appreciate Mother Earth. Like what happened during the pandemic.
Yeah.
How many rabbits do you see now? How many birds do you see? I mean, they're like flourished.
Yeah.
They're like, thank you. Because
Thank you.
guys were killing us.
Yeah, even the oceans too. They weren't like being overfished, and I remember reading that some of the coral came back. It was just insane to read. What was the big one? The waters inside of what's that city in Italy? Venice.
Yes.
Where it was just crazy how you could see all the way to the bottom and how clear and beautiful it was, and even the smog over cities.
I was gonna say the car emissions was like the air was never better.
Taj Mahal. There, like you could actually see it. Beijing it was just crazy.
It's like you said, just clearing everything physically, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So that's what Reiki is, and what I do is I work as a channel. I work as a vessel. So I connect into, through an attunement from a Reiki master. We get an attunement, which more or less anchors us into the energy, and we open up our crown chakra. And that crown chakra channels in this universal life force energy coming.
That's the top one?
The top one.
Okay.
It opens up and we channel in the God's energy. It's the life force energy. So whatever you call your source, I honor. Whatever you want to call it. Allah, or whatever you want to call it.
Whatever the light is.
Whatever that light is,
Yeah.
exactly. Will come in through my crown.
Game of Thrones fans, the God of Light.
Right.
But no, really,
True.
and that's perfect. So let's talk about shout out to my mom because she had said, well, what's chakras? Explain that. And I was like, I'm not going to do it justice. So you started out with the crown chakra. So kind of take us through. I like that you said that you're balancing us.
Write this down, by the way.
Yes, you're balancing us. I know that the first session I had with you, you had told me that I had some blocked chakras. So explain all of that for our listeners.
Okay, so the chakras we have 7 major chakras, and we have many, many other ones. But the 7 major ones that we connect to we start at the root, which is at the bottom, which is the first one that came into existence. So if we go back to primal man, caveman, it's all about they needed to survive. So that is our survival energy center, and it's based right in the tailbone.
Okay.
And it's red, so it vibrates at a very dense, slow energy. And it's all about either you live in fear or you live in love. So that energy center, they're all vortexes. So the vortex comes from the earth, and that's why we actually have chakras in our feet called earth chakras, where we receive the energy in through our feet.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
It works its way into the root. So this vortex receives energy and puts out energy.
Okay.
So it's responsible for physical aspects of the body, emotional aspects of the body, mental aspects of the body. And this is where it goes.
It's a major one.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, all of the chakras are connected to everything. Essential oils, crystals, days of the week, planets, angels. I mean, every single one has its own little map.
Wow.
So it's about how are we surviving? Are we going to survive in love and be grounded and be here? Or are we going to go into fear? And when you go into fear, what happens? You start getting anxiety and you get anxious and worried and sick.
Yeah.
When you're broken down. And then we move into, so we call the root the foundation. So if you can have that secure foundation and know that you're secure on this earth, right? And you have a purpose and you have a life and you're going to live in love of self first and then others.
Yeah.
Then we're going to move into the next energy chakra, which is orange, and it is the sacral. So the element of the first chakra is earth. The element of the second chakra is water. So it is based on emotions. It's the womb space in women. It's where everything is birthed. So you plant a seed, and what can you create? Besides, relationships with self, with others, but what can you create, for yourself in life?
Yeah.
So that's what that one is about briefly.
Yeah.
So that's connected again to many other things. Then we're going to go into the solar plexus, which is your confidence, your intuitive self, your
gut feeling.
Gut feeling.
Yeah.
What are we going to follow? And if you know me, I associate this whole chakra system to the Wizard of Oz.
Yes, this is so cool. This is so cool.
I was not part of this. So
This is, no,
Yeah.
this is really, really
Okay,
cool.
okay.
And I was just like, wait. And then I'll never forget, you actually told me something that I was like, no one knows that but my mom. I was like, this just got weird. All right, continue.
So it's the center, the yellow center, and I call it the yellow brick road. So it's, what do we follow? Do we follow our gut? Do we follow our path? What are we doing? So if we go to the Wizard of Oz, Dorothy is coming off of a tornado, which is a vortex.
Yeah.
And her house comes crashing down. And usually, in life, we have those crashes.
Oh, yeah.
And those crashes are usually dark, like she was coming from the black and white. And then all of a sudden, we have this awakening. So when she opens that door, everything turns into color. And this is where our awakening begins. So now she's out there and she begins to walk on that spiral. That's a whole nother thing, but it's the spiral of life. So we're walking our path, and along that path, what does she do? She's meeting the people she needs to meet on her journey to teach her lessons, for her to teach them and them to teach her. And she continues, and she learns all of these lessons and meets these people, and I say collects her tools in life.
Yeah.
And, eventually she falls asleep in those poppy fields, which we all do. We fall asleep.
Oh yeah.
And we need those little nudges to wake up to life. And then eventually makes her way to that Emerald City. The green is the heart chakra. So from the solar plexus yellow, we go into the heart. So the heart is where she's journeying to. We have to journey into our hearts. We have to live out of our heart space. We can't be up here. We have to be here. This is where we feel.
But a lot of people
Up here.
Yeah.
We need to bring that in
No, I'm
here.
kidding. I went like this. I'm just teasing. Yeah. No, but it's true though. It's so many people overthink, right?
I mean, I'm a big overthinker because there's a what you want to do and what you think. Again, going back to judgment, like what you're like, oh, like what will my parents think? What will other people think? Like this is what they want me to do. This is what I should be doing.
The
So,
should-bes.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's where you have to go, again, inward. And what is your heart's desire? This is your path. This is your life. This is your light that you have to connect to.
Yeah.
We all have a unique light that we have to shine. And a lot of times we we chase the waterfalls and we look at what each other is doing. But no, we need to shine our own light, because that's why we were given that light.
Is that what TLC was about? Don't go chasing waterfalls?
All right, now we're getting into a whole nother.
Well,
I don't know,
I mean,
but this will be.
But it's
Write
cool.
this down.
We need a fact checker on this show. No, but it's, and I don't know if it's by accident or if that had some sort of undertone to it as far as that movie goes. But I wonder if that movie was really based on someone that was in tune with chakras, and because there's way too many similarities.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
a lot.
I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
So by the time she gets to that Emerald City, which is her heart, right?
Yeah.
She realizes, oh my God, I've always had the power. And her shoes that she clicks are ruby red, which is the root chakra, and it brings her back home safe, right? Safe in that root chakra. So, and it's the balance of the good witch and the bad witch. It's the light and the dark, the sun and the moon, and I mean.
Yeah, the devil and angel on the shoulders.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the balance in life. We need the dark to see the light and appreciate that.
Absolutely, I'm a big believer of that.
Yeah. So that's where our lessons lie. So that in a little nutshell is watch that movie.
Yeah. I'm gonna watch
Well,
it.
I was gonna
Be
say-
like, that's what she was talking about right there.
And no, seriously, and if you do watch it after this, it's like you
It's
really sit. You're like, oh yeah, I know. It's wild.
Even the song "Somewhere Over the Rainbow," we're connecting to the rainbow, right? We're red, orange, yellow, green. Now we're going into the communication center, which is light blue. So it's all about speaking our truth, staying true to our integrity, but also balancing out the listening. So we can speak, but we also have to be a good listener. So that's what this whole communication center is about. So even if we don't speak it per se, you know, a lot of times when we have issues with, you know, people who have transitioned over and, you know, things were left unsaid, you can write it down. So writing it down is still communication.
That's.
Yes!
We knew that we chose the right name for this podcast.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Write
Love
it
it.
down.
That's
Yep.
fabulous. So that, oh my god. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
excited.
Like goosebumps. What the heck's going on here? Yeah.
There's your validation.
I
Yes.
need another drink.
So writing it down is powerful.
See, that's something that I need to work on.
Personally.
Is writing things down, and I think a part of me is also probably, I wouldn't say scared, but like once it's written somewhere or once it's said somewhere, it's done. Right?
Yeah, and that's
And
why
it's
I
like,
love.
oh!
But
Yeah.
again, that's writing things down also holds me accountable. Like when I'm at work, I'll make a list.
Yeah.
Or even like
right.
on a Saturday, if you're running around, I'll be like, okay, make a list so you can cross it off. You can see everything. Like I'm a very visual person as well.
Yep.
So that helps me. But yeah, it's a thing.
Sometimes
It's
when I make a
thing.
list and I'm not getting through it, I go like this. Okay. I can't see it. Doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
But yeah, it's extremely powerful.
Yeah,
that's,
I love that. That's fantastic. Maybe write this down. Should be in blue.
Wait, what's
Because light blue is
Oh. Well,
is the throat chakra.
oh, did we get through all the chakras already?
That's
Not yet.
no.
Oh,
but-
you're jumping ahead.
No, but
No,
that's
it
what she
is
was just
blue.
talking.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay,
like-
okay. Oh,
It's like,
okay.
yeah.
Yep, it's like the robin's egg blue. That
Pretty.
color. Pretty. So from that communication center, we're going to move into the brow or the third eye. So this is, you know, literally a third eye. We have an eye here that we dream, right? And do you remember your dreams? So how
What
you
color
know,
is that?
open is it? So it's like an indigo blue.
Like is that in like a light blue?
No, a
a
dark.
dark blue, like
Oh, a dark
like,
blue. Like your ring?
yeah, even darker.
Dark,
Yeah, even darker.
almost purple.
Yeah,
Okay.
almost purple.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, do you remember your dreams? So how open is your third eye? Then eventually, you know, that's where the psychic abilities come in, where you will see, you know, you can see things in your mind's eye with your eyes closed, obviously like you're dreaming, or you can see physically, you know, you can see things. But it's all about what do you dream about for yourself too. And I'll talk about how the chakras work together. So
Yeah.
from there we move up into the crown. So the crown, so the vortexes for the sacral, the solar plexus, the heart, the throat, the third eye all have, you know, an incoming and an outgoing, but the root and the crown just have one. So guidance from above comes down in, and guidance from below comes on up. So energy from the earth comes up, energy from the heavens come down, and all of that meets into the heart.
Can a person be kind of dominant in one chakra over another? And but the purpose of life is to be balanced within all of them.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'll share the first time I did a Reiki session with Kerri. She said that my like heart chakra was just like overpowering, but that my my solar plexus and my sacral were more like blocked. And I was like, of course, my sacral. That's my grandmother telling me I haven't had a baby yet. but yeah. So it was interesting that like, you know, one just emits so much, and it is because I think more of others sometimes before I sit and I think of myself. Like, no, but yeah, that's absolutely a thing.
And that's usually where the healers are, the healers and the light workers are usually unbalanced in this heart energy, because they are, just like you said, overcompensating the givers, the
Mm-hmm.
givers, the givers. But just like this physical heart works, it works pumping blood in and out. That energy center works the same way. We have to give, but we also have to receive,
Yeah.
or else we become unbalanced.
Yeah.
And
Super
so
unbalanced,
it's just amazing. So
It really
those
is.
are like the 7 major chakras, but we have, palm chakras, ear chakras, feet chakras. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But those are the major ones. But those are the colors of the rainbow. And each one of those also has a keynote that is associated with it. So a music note, just like the scale. So that's why if you hear a song playing that might be in one
Come
keynote
on.
that might make you want to dance, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's the keynote of the root chakra. Or if there's one that makes you want to cry, it's one of
Isn't
the heart
that
chakra.
nuts?
That's
Or
very
one that makes
interesting.
you want to sing, it's in the keynote of the communication.
Wait, how many chakras?
7.
7. So I don't know if I was telling you this or I was telling Camilla this. Is that number have any significance? 7 across the universe?
Everything. So that's a whole nother podcast.
That's a whole okay.
Numbers.
Yeah, that's next month. Okay. No, and the reason I bring that up is because I think I was telling you that every story that we tell now comes down to 7 stories that the Greeks put together.
Ah, yes.
Either it's love or revenge or brotherhood or something.
Every movie is about one of the 7. Remember,
It's gonna fall under one category, and we've never created anything outside of that 7 different categories, and it's just bizarre.
7 days of the week.
7 days of okay, we need to stop.
Yeah, we
it.
did
Yeah. It's getting creepy in there. Not
love
creepy.
it.
It wasn't over for creepy. It's getting intensified.
It's intensified. No, yes,
Yeah.
intense. No, that's word. Write that down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, thesaurus?
It's 7. No.
Oh, 7.
Write it down.
Yeah, seriously.
So is there 7 letters? I don't even want to read them. So when people say I need to align my chakras, does that mean that one is over here, or does that just mean one is deflated and one is inflated, and you have to line them up?
Right, so
Okay.
one can be excess, and
Okay.
so you over, like you just said,
Yeah.
Lindsay. So say, for instance, your communication one. You might have a person who just loves to speak and just never listens, you know? So that would be an overactive throat chakra.
Yeah. How many letters in Lindsay? 7?
Weird.
Yeah.
Same thing with maybe the crown, like your thoughts just never stop, never stop. So you have to kind of balance that out, and maybe you'll do meditation, or same thing with the solar plexus, like no confidence, right? You have to balance that out. Then you have people who are overconfident, so
Yeah.
those are things that you have to balance out.
Wow.
So it's a matter of
So
keeping
interesting.
them balanced, not that they're physically like out of alignment.
Yeah.
But they can, if you see the colors, they can be either enlarged or small or dark and heavy. So, yeah, there's so many ways to pick up on the energy.
And I love that you say that. That kind of brings me to my next question. So when you are performing Reiki, I would lay down, and it's interesting because she cannot touch me the entire time, but I feel like there's so much heat emitting from your hands. I remember that. What are you seeing?
So every Reiki practitioner is different.
The lights
Did you
flicker.
just see that?
It's 50 degrees in here, but I'm sweating.
Every Reiki practitioner works differently. It's about tuning into the clairs. So by clairs, I mean either you're clairsentient, clairvoyant, claircognizant. So it's a matter of what clairs you're working through, and that could differ with every client that's on the table.
Wow.
Depending on how open they are to receive.
Yeah.
The whole thing. It's how you're connecting. But so for the most part, it's opening up. I am clairvoyant, so I will see in my mind's eye, or occasionally I will see outside of the mind's eye. Clairsentient, where sometimes I tune into people's pain. So I might have a pain in my back, and eventually, that person has that pain in their back. Or I might see visually the chakras being, over or under active. So it will
Cool.
vary on. And every session, you can come for a Reiki session 7 days a week, and it will be different every single time.
Every time, yeah.
It's just wherever you are in that
Right.
space.
So I refer to a Reiki session to explain it to people as an emotional and mental massage. Because all too often we think of ourselves as a physical being, so we'll do everything for ourselves physically, right? Whatever it may be, exercise, makeup, hair, nails, all of that, and a physical massage. But what are we doing for the emotions and the mental?
That always gets
aspects?
pushed aside.
Always.
Especially now, like in
Always.
today's society, because we're all like overworked, underpaid, like we're just grinding all the time. That there's just no time.
Right.
But you have to make time.
You have to make. You have to carve that time.
Yeah, I was gonna say you have to carve that time. I know we're always saying like, oh, we're so busy, but it's just like with everything, you have to schedule it. You have to. It's so important. So Kerri, every person that you see is different, and one of the things you had said clairvoyant. I know that when I went for my first session, you had asked me, which I really liked, because not necessarily if you want to go and get your chakras balanced, do you want to know more than that? And I really appreciated that you asked if I was open to, if anybody came through, or, if anybody was trying to send a message or something. What does that feel like for you communicating with, would you call it another world, or?
So to me, it's just beyond the veil. So
Okay.
it's different dimensions.
Okay.
That we can communicate with, but it's definitely, the spirits behind the other side of the veil. So again, we're going to go back to the Wizard of Oz, right? Where was he behind that curtain the whole time, right? So it's a matter of communicating, raising our vibrations, because again, it's all vibrational now. I don't refer to people as dying, because their soul doesn't die, it's eternal. They transition into a spirit. They shed the physical body, and now they're a vibration. So I will never say they died, because they don't. They still have a connection with us, and that connection is of love.
Energy has to go somewhere. Energy doesn't just disappear. That is absolutely factual.
And that was my curiosity as a child. It's like, why can't we talk to them?
Yeah.
Like, why we couldn't even talk about them? Like, you're disturbing them. No, you want to keep their memory alive. That love connection is still here.
Yeah.
They send love to us, and we send love to them. So any thought that you're putting out there to your loved one is energy that you're putting up there, and they're picking up on that. So you do, again, there's another aspect of this. You do have to protect yourself, because there is other stuff out there that you don't want to get into. So it's, like I said, there's so many things we can get into just talking about this one little thing.
I don't know if this is in this realm, but what is, and obviously everything is connected, but spirit guides. Any information on that? Yeah? Okay, she said yes. Okay. I was hoping I was using the right words, because I was so interested on spirit guides and kind of how they operate and the different ways in which they operate. Yeah.
So we do have, guardian angels, and again, the spirit realm is so vast. So you can have, and you do have your own spirit guides if you are open enough to, receive their energy or their guidance. During some of my sessions, I have had encounters with Native Americans, pretty prevalent in a lot of my clients, actually. They've been coming through and working with them, it depends on what your life purpose is too. Some people in some of the sessions, the angels will come through, or, I might have Jesus come through, or animals, the shamanic realm, where people are connected to nature, and they will have their spirit guide as, maybe a wolf, or, the eagle, or so it...
Is that your spirit guide presenting themselves in something that you want to see, or where you feel comfortable in, or is that just what they are?
It's
or a little bit of both.
It's usually what they are, and what you're connecting to.
Interesting.
And it will evolve.
Yeah.
Because if they're done teaching you or guiding you in a lesson, then you will have someone else step in.
So you don't have one spirit guide for your whole life. It can change.
It can change. You can have one your whole life, or you can have.
It can literally be like your whole ancestry, like your whole bloodline.
I
can be like, I got this one. Take a seat.
I just envision in my head that I have a very long line of angry Italians behind me being like, don't do that!
What was that movie? You've seen Airplane?
Yes.
Where they slap the girl and then everyone goes like, oh,
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
It's the ripple effect.
yeah. Oh, that's so interesting.
That's really interesting. So, this was a really great question that came on our page, and we kind of hit on it before. But somebody asked, Corey, thank you for this. What is it like when you channel the spirits? Physically for you, how do you feel? And when do you realize, and how and when did you realize that you could do this?
So how does it feel? And again, it depends on what spirit is coming through and how they're communicating. Sometimes it's just like a claircognate. It's just like a knowing. Like, I just know this. And how do I know it? I just know it. It comes through as a knowing. Again, sometimes it'll come through as a clairsentient where I feel it. I sometimes they labor my breathing, or I get a headache, or, you know, again, I get the pain in my feet or my legs or whatever it may be. So I'm sensitive to the energy that they're bringing through. So if the spirit on the other side is saying, this is how I passed, you know, they might labor my breathing, or others might just say it was a heart attack. So it depends on the communication that we have, the communication line. But there's also, you know, a dialect that you begin to build. So if you start communicating with these spirits and you say, okay, this is my sign for such and such. So they might show you. So it's almost like they work off of your
alphabet. In a way.
your database.
That's really
Your
cool.
key. Yeah.
That's really cool. So it really is a two-way conversation. I was going to say, that's something I realized just sitting here, you know, I'm thinking that they're just sending things to you and you're telling us, but you can also say, hey, if you want me to, you know, this is my sign for XYZ, or this is how I'll comprehend that.
So it's a lot of symbols, and it doesn't come through as a full conversation.
Yeah.
So it's up to us, you know, the vessel, the channel, to try to deliver this message so that it connects to the receiver, and they connect. That's why a lot of times I'll ask for something that's very specific to you, so that you connect and you know this is your loved one.
Yeah.
You know, I had one client one time that during the session all I kept seeing was bubble gum. I just saw a big bubble gum machine with bubble gum balls, and I'm like, oh.
Yeah, there's a story.
Okay.
That's all this spirit can give me was a bubble gum.
They're like, don't know what that means. Bubble gum.
And this is where the ego comes in. You have to remember that I'm just a vessel. I am working on behalf of my spirit team to deliver a message, and it's not up to me to interpret it or try to figure it out. It's just, this is what I'm getting.
Yeah.
So after that session, I was very hesitant because my ego side was saying, no, don't say that. Don't say you saw bubblegum.
Yeah.
So I finally said, you know, I have to give you what I get and what I receive, and I received a bubblegum machine, and she just broke down in tears.
Yeah.
And it was all about her husband had a bubblegum machine near the door and a dish of pennies, and when her grandchildren walk in, they take the penny and get the gum. So this is how they communicate. And sometimes they have a lot of fun with you too. So when you stop to communicate, it sometimes becomes a game.
It's interesting that you bring up your ego in the sense of, I was going to say, do you ever feel disappointed after a session? You know, like you felt like you didn't get enough, or you couldn't interpret, or how is that?
I had to work through that. So that is definitely the ego coming in. So the ego will push you into, again, the fear of it, right? So the ego is all about the fear-based energy, and it doesn't want you to do this work. It wants you to fear it. So I had to learn to detach from outcome. So I'm here to deliver the message that you're going to, and that a lot of times I'll say to you, you get what you need, not what you want. And in this moment, this is what you need to hear to help you heal a layer of what needs to be healed. So before we can get to all the other layers, you have to heal this first, and this is what you need to hear. So yes, I had to detach from outcome. I had to remember that I'm just a vessel. This isn't me making this information up. So whatever comes through is from, my guides, and I always call on God and Jesus and Mary first. So I know that they are guiding me, and this is what I have for you today. And yeah, there are some times that I feel like I had one client one time say, well, but I really want to hear from my mom. But you just heard from your dad and your uncle. But that's not who I wanted to hear from, but that's not who came through today.
Yeah.
So it's hard.
And it's tough for us as people, right? Because you want what you want, and you want it now, instant gratification, and you always want more.
Right. But I also think that is really what separates somebody who is in the practice for the right reason and somebody who might be a fake, somebody that's just telling you what you want to hear. Because the fact that you don't always hear what you want to hear is kind of a good thing. To me, that's more authentic. That's more, listen to my Rhode Island accent, authentic. That's more.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, a lot of the times, that to me means it's more authentic, for sure.
And it's all about divine time. It's not the time for you to hear certain things. Because you have...
God, it's so tough to hear, though, when you're in the middle of it.
Yeah. It's when you go, and that's why I'll say to the clients to let go of expectations. If you come in here and just open to receive what's to be spoken, then you will not leave here disappointed.
I really had to focus on that for my first session, was just to, I was like, I have no expectations. I have no idea what's going to happen. But I will say, Kerri was so great, like explaining how it worked, because she'll do this for every client that she has that's new. She'll talk to them, like, this is what I'm going to do. Are you okay with this? And it's a very, I love the conversation beforehand, because I think that really makes you comfortable, because you're doing something you're unsure of. You've never done this before, so.
You have to remember that your client is opening themselves up. They are very vulnerable. They're on the table, and again, some of them, this is their first session, so they have no clue what to expect. Yeah. So you want them to be relaxed. You want to explain as much as possible.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because it could be a little.
Yeah.
I cried. Yeah. I cried my first day. It's like emotional. I'm super emotional, actually. People that don't know me. Lupe calls me an M&M. Really hard on the outside, but real soft on the inside. So yeah, it's definitely it's emotionally taxing for both. Because I know for you have to learn to shut it off as a channel and a vessel. Yes. And that's something, so we know Kerri's son as well. And that's something, we've all talked about with his fiance, Margarita. You guys know her from Roadie Foodie. And, being able to shut that off is not easy.
No.
It's draining.
That's where you have to be disciplined. As far as protecting your energy, and you have to be disciplined in disconnecting, because you are entering into a sacred space with your client. It is sacred. It's sacred to them and you as a practitioner. And then when you're done with that session, obviously you have to ground your client, make sure that they're okay, they're grounded, and then you have to come out and just disconnect from the energy, so that you're not taking it all on. Because usually a Reiki practitioner or an energy healer is very compassionate and empathetic. You don't want to collect all of their, I have a joke, I'm like, this is yours, that's you keep it.
Oh, and that would be so unfair, and oh my gosh, heavy. I can't even imagine, like, oh my goodness. So that's
day in, day out.
That's a lot. My goodness.
I would be like, can you take some of mine?
No. Oh man.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
So Kerri, you brought some stuff today.
I did.
This looks really
cool.
So
show us what you brought and what you want to talk about.
Okay. So first we'll connect to the earth realm, and going back to nature, and everything in nature has a purpose. Every single thing out there in nature, you could look up the spiritual meaning of whatever it is, and there's a meaning.
I could look up the spiritual meaning of Lupe.
Yeah, probably.
Write that down.
let's not write that. The one time I'll tell you to listen, not write that. No, and is that why when folks say, hey, there's only one thing I remember from my dream, a freaking eagle eating a gummy bear.
Oh my gosh, yeah. There's one that's happened so many times you wake up.
It's just one thing that you remember, and the more you try to think of it, the more it fades away.
Yes.
And I hate that feeling.
Yes.
You need to wake up and write it down.
Yeah.
And then research.
I know, you only get like 30 seconds or something like that.
Yes. You're not supposed to do anything when you wake up. Keep the dream journal on the side of the bed.
Really?
and you just write it quick.
Do you
Then
journal
can
your
go-
dreams
I
quickly?
did for a while.
Yeah.
I probably have about a year's worth of
Really?
dreams.
Well, when I was waking up at 3 a.m., I can tell you I was not journaling my dreams, but maybe now I will.
And so we can go into that. You're saying waking up at 3 a.m. because that's when the veil is thin. So usually between the hours of 12 a.m. and 4 a.m., the veil is thinner, and that's where a lot of communications can happen.
Interesting.
I find myself, not recently, but probably before this job that I had, I found myself working during those hours. I felt very clear.
Exactly.
And working all the way through the night, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.
Well, is this after you were a promo person?
No.
Because I mean, those were like your hours.
Yeah, well, I guess part of it probably, but it's just weird that I get more work done within those hours than I would by waking up early.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's crazy. Yeah.
Whatever works for you.
Learn a lot.
This whole journey is amazing if you begin to connect into it. So, like, I think, Lindsay, do you have like sunflowers over there?
Yes.
Okay, so you could look up spiritual meaning of sunflowers, and the sunflower is all about, so you can go connect that to your solar plexus, and it's yellow, right? But it is, the sunflower is all about standing strong in who you are. So it has this thick stalk, right?
Love it.
And the sunflower always follows the light.
The sun.
So just keeping your head up and just following the light, and don't worry about anything else.
So hard to do.
So,
Oh my gosh.
oh, it's very
Because there's a
hard.
lot happening down there.
Yeah.
And behind the light.
Lupe's like, I see it all the time. So
Yeah.
tell us about these sprays.
So I started to connect into, the essential oils, and there's an essential oil for every chakra and whatnot. So wanted to start using more natural room sprays or
I love
body
that.
sprays. So these are made with all natural essential oils and a combination with all natural witch hazel, and this one happens to have a little bit of holy water in it. So this one is actually like a
Venma?
cleansing
Yeah.
a cleansing protection spray.
Oh, that's nice.
So if you
That'll
look
burn
up,
you. Don't touch it.
so each essential oil, again, everything has a meaning. So the fennel is protection combined with the lemon, so it creates protection. So I mean, again, we can take this
Yeah.
everywhere, but this will cleanse your space. So if you have a sensitivity to incense, or maybe you're going to work and you don't want to like light an incense, you can spray and still protect your energy rather than having to use just white sage.
I was just gonna say, so sometimes, and this is terrible, but I love saging. Actually, Margarita and Jared were the ones that actually told me how to do it properly. Love them. But sometimes I'm just like,
Good job, guys.
lazy. I'm like, ugh, I don't want to open windows. I don't want to walk around, like whatever.
You're like negative energy. Can you just stay out in that
I'm
corner?
like, listen. I know. I'm like, oh. So so that would be nice.
Yes, so
That's really nice.
Yep, so that's this one that I've made.
Fabulous.
And then I created this other one, which is a peace scent. So this one has
I'm gonna
different.
drink that one.
So
I'm joking.
there's one each for
I need some peace.
one of you, so you get to fight over
Oh,
which one.
thank you so much.
Wasn't
You're
expecting
welcome.
that.
So do you sell these online? How can people get them? Because I'm sure
Got it
people
right
are going to
there.
see them.
There's a website right there.
Yeah, we'll put this
In the
in our
description.
link bio.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
because I'm sure
Thank you.
people are going to be really excited about that.
Thank
That's
you.
so
Yep.
awesome.
And this is kind of hit the corners of a room. You hit an area. What do you hit
So-
yourself?
You can hit yourself. You can
Yeah.
put this in your car. You can put it anywhere. But
Yeah.
if you want to cleanse properly,
Yeah.
so usually you come in. If you're going to do your home, if you walk in through the front door, you usually clear clockwise. So you would come in and you'd spray. So in this case, if you're using the spray from the bottom up, and just walk your way all around while setting the intention that you want to clear your space. So whatever is no longer
So you have to have an
serving
intent. You
you.
have to.
setting your
See
intention when you
intention.
sage too is really like I'll actually like sit and I'll be like okay like and I'll really think about it and then I'll really focus on it because my mind is like
Yeah.
all over the place. So yeah, that's hard. That's almost
It's
the
hard.
hardest part for me for say is focusing for that time.
Right, so you can bring this back into, our religion.
Yeah.
And when they prepared the space to bring out the Eucharist,
Mhm.
that's exactly what they're doing. They're using the incense
Oh.
and they're clearing the space.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
And they're walking in a circle
That's interesting.
and clearing the space, clearing the energy. So the incense will attach itself to the energy and just take it up and out. So, and the same thing with the spray.
I'm glad you said that because I would have done it counterclockwise and I would have Kerri. I just I did it backwards and I'm seeing some things in here. So clockwise, guys. Clockwise.
Clockwise.
Yeah.
But
Perfect.
I will say,
Yeah.
right or wrong way, that's what, we're taught.
Okay.
But if the intention is from your heart,
Then that's what.
Hopefully that's what matters.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Don't.
what
I wouldn't mess with it if I were you.
Well, I'm just Wait, what?
That's That's awesome.
So-
That's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Good for you.
thank you.
That is
So
wonderful.
It's been, I use them in my healing room, but I also spray them on the bed before I go to sleep. So this way I can sleep. You can spray it in your car. You can do a lot with that.
That's so amazing.
So that's that. So here you go, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I just brought some incense too. So
Ooh.
if you like incense, this is one of my favorites, which is frankincense and myrrh.
Yeah. Let me see.
So that's for you guys too. You can.
Oh, see,
Frankincense and
I
myrrh.
don't think that I can light incense because I heard somewhere that incense were poisonous to cats. Is that legit?
Ooh,
I don't know.
some of them are.
Yeah.
Yes, and some oils are too.
Yes.
I guess
Yeah.
I'm taking those with me.
Yes.
See, there's a reason for everything in this life. The path was for me to take both of these with me. Okay.
That's all right. But because the essential oils that it's like the glass jar with the oils with the sticks of the
Yes.
top
I love
diffusers.
those.
the diffusers, yeah, like those I know I cannot have because they
Cat
make
would probably. Yeah.
they make cats really sick.
Really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And knowing these guys, don't knock them over. Start drinking it.
little Lupe will. My goodness.
So that's that. I brought some cards. So
Ooh.
these are just like 3 of my many.
Yeah.
Here, I was gonna say, let's stand them up for people
Yeah.
to
So I picked
let's see.
Sorry.
No, don't be. That's all right.
This
Oh,
somebody
bad, it's
did
not
not
me.
like.
I'll put it up here. Look at this.
Did you hear what I said?
No, I don't want to know what you said. My energy is blocking you out.
Energy card. That was a big one because this will be.
You're going to be calling Kerri, Lupe doesn't talk to me anymore. You taught him too much about clearing energy.
Clearing energy.
Rude. First of
Oh,
all, you
this
would
team.
never.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All right.
So are
so
these
many
like
cards.
are these like reading cards like how everyone's used to like the tower in
The
front
tarot.
the tower and yeah.
Tarot? Would you call them
No,
tower
no,
cards?
Tarot or the tarot.
No. What's the one card with the tower with the people falling over the
Oh
side?
yeah, the tower card.
The tower card, yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. You-
I take that back.
Okay, thank you.
So we'll touch that briefly as far as the stigma that's with the tarot or tarot, however you like to pronounce it. We're going to go back to, if we go back to, they were originally called the tarotchis, and they were depicted back in the late 1800s, and they've never changed the images of those cards. So obviously, a lot of times you look at those cards and they're frightful, right?
Oh yeah.
And that's why we have so much fear attached to that.
Especially that tower card.
The tower
You're
card,
like, what the heck's
the
that?
death card, the
Yeah.
devil card. And that's what ushered in, I think, the oracle cards with the angels and all of this.
Oh, okay. All right. So how do you know when you have somebody with you? How do you know where to pull from? Like, what is?
So what I do, just like I do with my Reiki session, I will pull out my decks
Yeah.
and I will ask my client what they feel comfortable with. And I'll explain the decks to them, and I have them choose 2 decks, and that's what I read from. So I want them to feel comfortable on the receiving end on what they're looking at. So I will have them choose their own decks.
Oh, that's
And then
cool.
I will choose a couple of decks, and then I'll add some cards into the mix.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really
So
interesting.
So it's a team effort.
It's
Yeah.
team effort.
Yeah.
Yes, and a lot of people say don't let anybody touch your cards. I let everyone get their energy onto my cards because this is about them. It's about energy. You can clear the energy out of the cards, so it doesn't matter to me.
Oh, I never knew that people say don't let people touch your cards.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of superstitious
Yeah.
people.
That's interesting.
So no, I do.
Germaphobes probably.
I'll go with it. Do you think that there are a lot of people that respond? I don't want to say better, but do you think that that's because that's a tangible that sometimes people receive it better?
Yes, people need visuals. It's a divination tool, right? No matter what I'm doing on this side, I'm still channeling. I'm still the channel. No matter what comes through is coming through from the spirit world, my spirit guides, God, whomever I channel. And this is a divination tool, so they have something to see and we have something to converse about, and then ultimately the message come through. Because a lot of times when I'm reading the card, you know, what is stated on the card isn't necessarily the message that I'm going to deliver. So it's usually, let's look at the card, but let's look deeper into the card, because what the caption says is not what I'm getting. And that's how, you know, I bring forward the messages that I channel.
That's really interesting.
And I'm assuming the sequence probably plays. Does sequence play a part in it?
Sometimes with the tarot, you know, there's so many different spreads you can use. You can use like a simple 3-card spread, which is, you know, recent, past, current, and then future. So you can do those easy little reads, but then you can get into the spreads where the tarot cards you use like 12 cards. So it depends on what your intention is, again, for the session. Why are you here? What do we need to discuss? You know, I had a reading today and it was all about a relationship, or sometimes it's about a job, or sometimes it's just, I need guidance, I'm lost. Can you help me?
Before I decided what I was doing for my job, I did a lot of saging. I was like, tell me what to do! And they're probably like, stay away from her. But yeah, no, that's,
And sometimes can it be like multiple things, or is it just you just think of one thing and then that's what I'm here for?
Sometimes the one thing leads to other things.
To other things, okay. All right. So you would say if I came in, we'd be there for like 2 days? Order a pizza. You're not going anywhere.
No, that's a good question. I'm sure people are wondering, you know, like how long does this take? How long is a typical session?
So a typical session, I usually say a 60-minute session is beneficial. You know, 30 minutes, I do offer 30 minutes, but it's like you're just getting into the session and then it's over. So it's usually a 60-minute, an hour when you really get into the reading.
That's amazing. And so you can get a Reiki session and do you pull cards before or after?
I usually pull cards before. So what I'm actually, my business is evolving in what I'm doing now in a session, especially, it's all energy. So Reiki is energy, this is energy, and my crystals that I'll pull out in a few minutes are energy. So it's like, what do you need? Do you need some guidance? We'll pull a couple of cards before we do our Reiki session. We'll incorporate that energy into the Reiki session. And if I feel like I need to incorporate crystals into your healing, I'll do that as well. So I'll do crystal healings on the table as well.
That's awesome.
So
it's a loaded question. What do you need?
I know. Seriously, I'm like, well, how much time do you have? Yeah, seriously. Oh my goodness.
Clear the books. Yeah, I'm interested in this stuff, right? Because I actually have some crystals, but I lost a little paper that tells me what it's for and the name of it, and it's like
Actually, after my first Reiki session, I specifically went. So, shout out to Full Moon Botanica. Love them. They are a locally owned business right outside of Boston, and she's actually a good friend of my friend Alex Morse's. And I was like talking to her, and I was like, okay, so I did a Reiki session, and my solar plexus is, so I need this, and we were like, have this big thing. She's like, girl, breathe. She's like, I got you. I got you. I was like, all right. So I've been like, I just got like super into them, and ironically, one of my best friends is also like really into them. And then I found out that on Main Street, East Greenwich, the Third Rock Emporium is actually, it's owned by a girl I went to high school with. That's her dad's shop. I never knew that. Shop. Yeah, that's it's really nice in there. But oh my gosh, you could learn about them for days. They're so interesting.
There's so many of them. There's so many of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, the most ones that people want, the money one, right? The money one.
The money one.
The money, the love
the
one.
What do you mean the money one?
Well, all the different, they all are for something.
Oh, like the brings you money.
Yeah.
So here's just a few of, and again, this can be another.
Here's a personal question for you about crystals, because I love to ask people this. Do you prefer a natural cut or a polished cut?
Ooh.
So at the very beginning of my journey with crystals, preferred the polished. But now I really like the crystals in the rough.
Yep. I love a rough, and so when I was little, I used to collect rocks.
Yes. Up with Learning used to have them.
And and even like when I would go on vacations, like with my family, but now like looking back on them, this is what they were. They were like little crystals.
Mm-hmm.
Do I still have them today? Of course not. I was
No.
like, man, I had so many of those. But I love an uncut crystal.
Aren't they in the rough?
It's so beautiful.
So here's just some of them. So Lupe, you probably have the more popular one, I would think. Right?
I'll have to.
You'll have to send me.
I'll have to
pictures
send you
of
text you a photo of the ones I have, and you'll have to be like, yep, this one is that one's this.
So, for example,
I want to take a picture of these
amethyst.
so that we can post these.
Oh, yeah, I started creating all of those.
This is the rock of my life right here.
This is my gosh. These are
useful,
awesome,
but not
though.
really. Kind of just.
Very cool.
Thank you. So I have them all over the house. So I'll put them in maybe crystal containers or little candy dishes and just put them sporadically all over the home.
Yeah.
So this is like amethyst. So this is amethyst in the rough.
Yeah,
and then
this is my
polished
birthstone, I think. The
The amethyst.
Pisces. It's a purple one. No, what's the
Pisces,
purple?
Pisces is aquamarine.
Yeah.
So this is actually
Oh,
aquamarine.
okay. There we go.
Yep.
Pretty.
Aquamarine water. So this is, if we work off a color, this is associated with the crown chakra. So because it's purple, it's that purple color. We have tiger's eye. So a lot of times you can associate the crystals' colors to the chakras, but also the rose quartz is a heart chakra, even though it's not green. The rose quartz is associated with the heart chakra. So it can get tricky. So this stone right here is a malachite, which is all about money too.
Oh, I
But
like
it
this
can
one
also.
too.
um,
This is the money rock, guys.
That's beautiful. I've never
Isn't it
seen that
pretty?
before. Yeah.
but they have so many.
Oh my gosh.
It will cleanse.
Yeah.
But they have so many other meanings.
Look at this
so,
one. This one looks like pasta.
So this one isn't this one. This one's
so
pretty.
cute.
It's called Desert Rose.
Oh,
So
I love this
it-
one.
It looks like a tumbleweed.
It
Yeah.
does. That's
Doesn't it?
exactly what I was thinking of.
Like a little shredded mini wheat.
Oh,
Shredded mini
No,
wheat.
I
serious?
would like that. Yeah,
Roadie
seriously.
foodie.
Yeah.
Everything's
So,
about food.
like, one of the purposes of this stone is to connect to a past life, if you believe in past lives. So, or recollect dreams, and so there's so many different uses.
What is
of
this? This one's
stones.
beautiful.
I love that one.
I love this color.
So this one is blue lace agate. So this, corresponds to your throat, your communication center. But just feel it, like your thumb just fits right in there. It's just like one of those touchstones.
Yes.
Can I go back
That's
to this one
nice.
for a second? This is the past life one.
It's really nice.
There is, and I think as I'm getting older, probably, I don't know if I'm in a different frequency, but, excuse me?
I'm sorry, what?
You said, oh, you're doing the older thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to believe in that. Because I don't know if I'm finding myself actually going back to what I've always wanted to do in life, or if it's something that I loved doing in a past life and it's just drawing me towards it, right?
Yeah.
So, like,
Interesting.
yeah, this is, it's like, it's powerful stuff. What's it, the pasta tumbleweed? Which one's this one?
That one's Desert Rose.
Desert Rose. I even love the name of it.
I was gonna say, where do you need to find you one?
I'm gonna have to move to the desert.
No.
You can have that, Lupe. I have like 2 more at home.
Oh, no, I can't take your. We're
A
taking.
lot of times you have to, you can get gifted crystals. So you get gifted.
What about the money one?
Zero
No,
little-
no,
Yes, I love it.
no, this is really. Thank you so much. Yeah,
You're welcome.
this is.
It's
And I don't know
beautiful.
what that notion is. Sometimes and what a lot of folks don't, and I don't think you even know this. Me and her had a 2-hour conversation one time, like on a random Tuesday night. I think after leaving Margarita's house. And
Well, yes, you did. You told me
Oh, I
that.
did tell-
but- yeah,
okay.
yeah.
yeah, and there's just this.
this is kind of how this kind of sparked, because you were like, oh my gosh, did you know that? And I was like, it's so fascinating. There's so much.
There's so much. There's so much.
We could go on. I mean, we've been talking for an hour already. Like, we could go on forever.
Ever.
It's just so interesting.
And that's where you begin to acknowledge that everything in life is connected. Because, and I think everything just starts with the basic chakras, because everything spirals out from there. Because again, we're going to go with the root chakra, and you know, let's say, actually right here I have hematite on, right? Hematite is related to the root chakra, and then we're going to go with the color red, so we can have another color red stone that is associated with the root chakra. And again, you're going to go into the days of the week, and the keynote, in the songs, everything starts with the rainbow. So I call this our inner rainbow, our connection. And you said, you know, wow, it goes back to, you know, the Wizard of Oz, but even, you know, Kermit the Frog song, you know, the Rainbow Connection.
Oh yeah.
Listen to that song. Listen to that song.
It's gonna mess us up.
So there's all these.
We go through our whole childhood and go, there it is.
There it is.
There it is.
We should have known this.
Now, if I wanted to maybe, I don't know, maybe say I had like a cat that was named after one of my best friends that needed to calm down a little bit. You know, is there like something that I could do for him to balance his chakras? Like, what is?
Yeah, you know what?
It's called Bali. You put a little bit in the water dish and take a little nappy new.
So if you did Reiki, you could give your little cat a little bit
cat
of
Reiki.
Yeah, so we have animal Reiki too. So there's animal Reiki.
Stop right now! There is animal Reiki.
There's literally, next time I see Lupe, he's going to be like this. Please. You're in
the insensitive person.
You're in my zone.
First of all, I think he's going to need a little bit more than one session to get that Zen. Oh my gosh, wow, there's animal Reiki. That is so
Animal
cool.
Reiki.
And that brings me to another question.
Okay.
Do you ever, I know everybody's different, but we got a really good question about somebody asking if you get communication from past pets.
Oh yes.
Oh, because I feel like pet loss is something that a lot of people talk about, and it's something that if you don't have a pet or haven't had a pet, lost pet, you don't understand it.
Right.
And it actually, something else we had talked about was actually I had a professor in college who specialized. She did her dissertation on pet loss grief specifically. And it is so powerful. So I wanted to ask you that, you know, like, how, is that something that comes through?
Yes.
Is that,
Yes, especially if you have someone who, you know, only had pets, you know, in their lives. Most definitely. I've had a horse come through, I've had dogs come through, I've had rabbits come through. So yes, and they all have souls. So of course they're going to come through and connect with you. They're, you know, they are here for us because they are just full with unconditional love. And that's why they don't live as long, because they are just here to teach us that unconditional love and how to hold that space. So they are just amazing little creatures.
It's still unfair.
It's amazing.
It is unfair. It is unfair.
A lot of the questions that we got don't necessarily, I think, maybe I didn't explain it properly on this. Sorry, guys, but don't specifically pertain to it. But the last question that I had was, what at the end of all of this, what is the main benefit of regularly, you know, balancing your energies?
So it's a matter of moving the energy. So what happens with Reiki, again, I call it, you know, your emotional mental massages. The body, the physical body, I call it the PEMS. So we have layers. We have the physical body, we have a layer of emotional energy, mental energy, and spiritual energy. So this is our light body, you know, and that's why if somebody gets really close to you, you say, oh my God, they're in my space, because they are in your space. You know, you have this light body that you're walking around in, your aura. So we receive energy in from the spiritual realm, you know, whatever that energy may be, the guidance, and then it works into a mental thought, right? And you have a mental thought, and then that somehow sometimes probes a little bit of emotion. and that it could be a past thought of, a past relationship that brings in the thought, and then it brings in an emotion connected to that thought, which could be anger, for example.
I thought that was like normal. Like whenever I think of something, I'll think of something and just cry, or I'll think, I mean it's because I'm very emotional, but
I think that's why songs are so powerful, right? They move you to a moment of time that's locked away in time, but it still exists there.
Right, and it's
still real.
It is real, and it's up to us to. I thought I saw something. Sorry.
Yeah.
no, it's the cat's jumping around over there
No,
as
she
usual.
saw something.
Oh.
No, and I think that's why when folks are in love too, right? That's why everybody, because you want to be in each other's energy. Yeah.
Yes. So
Definitely.
So
absolutely.
if we talk about the heavier energies like anger and unforgiveness and resentment, and I joke around, but I love being my Italian descent. But sometimes you can hold on to, generations can hold on to anger. And that's imprinted in us. But eventually, if you hold on to an emotion, whether it be anger or resentment, it affects the physical body eventually. So Reiki moves that energy so that it doesn't set into the physical body, because anger will settle in the liver like fear settles in the kidneys. So it settles in certain places in the body, and that's when the body becomes at dis-ease. So we say disease, but dis-ease of the body, the physical body. You see commercials sometimes about depression, right? You see the little ball bouncing around. Yeah. Who does depression hurt? It hurts everybody around you. But the energy of your emotions and your mental thoughts weigh heavy on your physical body.
Absolutely.
And that's why a lot of times when clients get off the table, they'll say like, oh my God, I feel like I've had a massage. Because our emotions and our mental thoughts are energy that weigh heavy on the body. So when you're all up in your head sometimes, you're tired, and it's because
mental exhaustion's real.
Exactly. So it's, and again, we can get into, like you said, depression and mental, all of that. Reiki is good for all of that because we're moving that energy. So if you don't move yourself physically, this is another way of just moving the energy in your energy field.
Incredible.
So it's incredible. It helped me. I suffered with panic and anxiety for about 10 years, and this helped me.
I would have never guessed that.
Oh, I did. Oh, yeah. It was hard.
Well, just from the product now,
it was a lot of work.
Yeah.
It was a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it was, not going on a train, a plane, buses, leaving church, leaving the market, leaving the bank. It was horrible. Wow. Horrible. But this was like a godsend. A godsend. Wow. Yeah.
And was that just from you just picking up a book, reading more about it? You don't have to get too personal on your personal journey, but is it just more of a self-taught thing? Did you have a mentor? A little bit of everything?
No, it was actually what prompted this whole thing. So many years ago, what prompted it was actually my grandfather passing away. And this is what prompted me knowing that there's something out there existed, and my son Jared did connect into that energy, and he was only 3. So he validated what I knew was true, that something existed out there.
And he's told me stories too. I'm like, what? Oh my God, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I would have seen 1/10 of that, I would be crying right now. Yeah.
So, death weighs, which I don't call anymore, but death, the energy of that weighs heavily on. So I ended up going into anxiety, but years later, when my husband lost his mom, he went into a depression. So he went into about a 5-year depression, and I wanted, as the healer that I was back then, I wanted to help him, and I couldn't do anything to help him. And a situation arose where a cousin and myself were going to go see a medium. And again, the Italians, we didn't let anybody know we were going to see the medium. Yeah. And she couldn't go.
I see
she
you
got
wearing
sick.
a hoodie going, oh my God.
And she couldn't go. And I'm like, oh, great, I'm not going to go alone. So I asked a couple of people, nobody would come. And finally I told him, and he's like, well, I'll come with you. Well, that was the best thing that happened. And I knew in that moment that I had to start doing this work. So when I did, I walked into a metaphysical shop again, way back when it was called Herbs and Angels. It was right here on Plainfield Pike. I loved that shop. And I went in and I started taking classes. And it just has been a beautiful 12-year journey.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That's the journey.
And what would you tell somebody out there that sees this and is inspired or maybe has been thinking about starting, their own journey? They want lessons. What should they do? Because obviously, like, this goes on YouTube, so this reaches anybody in the country. Should they look for a place in their area? Should they look for a shop? Should they look for a person? What's the best way to go about that?
All right, so I do suggest, first off, connecting to your gut, right? So if you're going to walk into a place and that place feels comfortable to you, that's what you go to. And I found that putting it out there, like the intention again is I'd like to start doing some of this because I do Reiki classes, I do Chakra classes, I do all of that. And with obviously the pandemic, we've reached more people on online classes. So there's a lot of stuff out there. So if you're the type of person who'd like to do an online class, I say go online and just go to what you're attracted to, what you feel comfortable with. If you're someone who needs to do in-person classes, again, call that person up, ask if you could speak with them for a little bit, just to feel the energy and what you feel comfortable with. I always say start with the chakras. Again, I'm going to go back to that because it's the base of everything, and it just branches out from there. It's and just trust your gut, trust what you feel, connect with your light, and know that what is good for you isn't good for everybody else. And I found that on this path, the first probably 5 or 6 years, I did it alone. And it was something I had to do for myself alone. I was driving in snowstorms and just to go to these classes because it was just, like you said, just a strong pull inside of me that said I had to do this. And a lot of times I did it, no one really knew. Like my husband knew, but I wasn't advertising I'm going for a crystal class. I just had to do it. I knew I had to do it, and I did it. So it's just been amazing.
Can you imagine, babe, where are you?
You're
Where do you go every Thursday from 8 to 8:30? What's his name?
No, that's me. That's me.
Oh, that's you. Okay,
that's me. If Justin started taking this class, I'd be like,
No,
seriously though, on a serious note, Kerri, thank you so much for all of this. This is incredible. This is amazing. We're gonna make sure that we, a peace-filled soul. Make sure that you guys follow her
Thank you.
on Instagram. She always, I will say, you're one of those people. If I ever need like an inspirational quote or like something like at that moment, I'm like, Kerri posts it. I'm like, she feels me. Like she knows.
Thank you.
And I really hope that this is up to you, but are you open to questions if people want to reach out to you?
Yes,
or
most
something?
definitely.
Fantastic.
Most definitely.
Great.
Thank you. I can't thank both of you enough because this wasn't easy for me to come out and just take ownership of what I truly believe in. So I thank you. You made this so easy.
Oh, thank you.
Fun.
Well, we're so
love your
thankful that
energy.
shared.
Love your energy.
I think after 2020, right, sky's the limit.
It is. Yeah, totally.
It's just
so thank you.
No, thank you seriously for sharing all of this, because I know that this obviously can't be easy, and it's not, but it's so interesting because I feel like more and more people are talking about it, and it's perceived, I know by a lot of people, like it's perceived a lot differently, and people really want to know about it. So we were like,
it's the fear of the unknown. It's fearing what you don't know. And when I started with the crystals, it's like they come from the earth. Why are they in the earth? They're there for a reason.
Well,
we weren't taught about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it also goes back to what you said earlier, where it's what we used to do, and then things happen, and now we're getting back to it. And even things that we celebrate now, Easter, right? Why is it the Easter Bunny? It's from the pagans, right? It's because of rebirth, spring, reproduction, and that's a very Christian holiday. So it's all intertwined. Yeah. So it's interesting to hear it from a different perspective too.
Absolutely. Very, very interesting. This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
I
Kerri.
enjoyed it. Thank you so much.